The Detroit Lions' first regular season game is officially just over 3 weeks away, and that means two things. The first thing being that the hype around the season is at an all-time high and is continuing to get higher and higher as we get closer to the season. Obviously, a bit of a bad taste still in my mouth from how last season ended, but hopefully they're able to stay healthy this year and have a different outcome and maybe win the Super Bowl. The second thing being that NFL preseason is officially here, as we already head into our third game this Saturday. And I do plan on making, a bit of a, preseason review video once preseason is officially over, and kind of just talk about some of, standout players, the positives, the negatives, the players that didn't stand out, and things like that. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and make sure to stay tuned for those videos. I do plan on posting a lot more, and I just had to take a bit of a break, and I'm officially back now. But for today's video, we are going to be looking at the Detroit Lions 2025 season schedule prediction made by me. I'm going to give you just, maybe like 30 seconds for each game of why I think, the Detroit Lions will win or lose. And we'll kind of just run through the season. I'll give my final prediction at the end for how I think the Lions will finish this season. Let's go ahead and jump right in to week number 1. Starting with the Detroit Lions taking on the Green Bay Packers. This is going to be at Lambeau Field. We know how this rivalry has been the last couple of years. And the Green Bay Packers are kind of just the same team that they have been recently. Could they take a jump this year and win 12 games? I think they could. This is a team that could really beat any team on any given day, and that goes for the Detroit Lions as well. However, I don't see that happening in this game. I think the Lions are going to come out a little bit stronger this season than they did last year when they kind of struggled their first few games offensively. I think the Lions are going to lock in defensively, and I think they're going to win this game after being down by a bit, and they're going to kind of come back, hold the lead till the end. They're going to win this one 27-23 to open up the regular season. Moving on into week number 2, the Detroit Lions will be taking on a familiar face, Ben Johnson, and his new Chicago Bears team. He is the new head coach over there, and I'm going to be honest, I don't think by week 2 the Bears are going to be, their fully, potential. I don't think they're going to meet that quite yet. I think that they're going to kind of be the same team they were last year, kind of struggling. I think Caleb Williams will take a leap this year, but this early in the season and, being in Detroit, I think the Detroit Lions are going to come out on top in this one. I think they're going to get this win fairly easily. I think I'm going to go 31-14 Lions, and I think that they'll move to 2-0 on the season and also 2-0 in the division as well. Moving into week number 3, here's another very tough matchup. The Detroit Lions will head to Baltimore to take on the Ravens in a game that we got slaughtered last time we played this team. It was ugly. I remember the day that game happened. It was our first, big test of the season, and they just obliterated us, man. Like, that was pretty embarrassing, but I don't think it's going to be that bad this year. However, I do think the Ravens are going to beat us this year. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. However, I think that we'll end up losing around 34-20, something like that. I think it's going to be a, probably like 10 to 14 point loss. We'll probably have it pretty close, and I think towards the end of the game, the Ravens will kind of pull ahead, and we will kind of just lose any momentum that we might have had, and the Ravens will pull out this win, sending the Detroit Lions to 2-1 on the season. After this game, the Detroit Lions will head back home and take on the Cleveland Browns in a game that should be one of their probably, I'd say, top 3 easiest games of the season. There's really no saying what this team is going to look like heading into the season. No one even knows who their quarterback is going to be. And they have an okay team. I mean, they've got some players, but I just don't see this team being a threat to us, especially at home. And coming off of a loss, I think this is going to be one of those bounce-back games you see Dan Campbell's team have quite a bit. I think the Lions are going to blow the roof off the Cleveland Browns' faces. I think they're going to win this one 41-10. And just, like I said, just a blowout and get back on track, move to 3-1 on the season. After this, the Detroit Lions will stay against the AFC North, and they'll take on their third one already heading into week number 5. They'll take on Cincinnati Bengals in an away game, which could be a very interesting game, more than likely going to become a shootout. This is one of the worst defenses in the league, but one of the best offenses in the league. There's just no saying what's going to happen. Now, if our defense is playing as good as I think they'll be playing by this time, they're healthy, they're ready to go, I think we'll walk into this game and walk out with a dub. But I don't see it being easy, and I see this game being very high scoring. I'm going to go 45-34 Detroit Lions, and it's going to be pretty close. And then the last 5 minutes or so, Lions will pull ahead, keep the lead, move to 4-1 on the season. Week number 6, we'll stay on the road, and we head to Kansas City for the second time in the last 3 seasons. And we will get to rematch them from the time we beat them in week 1 a couple years ago.
The Chiefs coming off of a Super Bowl loss to the Eagles, and pretty embarrassing loss as well. I am very intrigued to see how the Chiefs are this year. I have no idea if they're going to be the same 14-3 team that they always are, or if they're maybe going to take a bit of a fall this year. I could see it happening. I think they got really lucky last year. And going out on the road to play the Chiefs in prime time is, it's fun, right? It's fun. And the Lions show up to those kind of games. I'm going to take the Lions in this one and have them moving to 5-1 on the season. I think that they're going to come out with a victory in this one. And it's going to be close. I'm going to go 30-27 Detroit Lions. I think we kick a field goal or score a touchdown with about 2 minutes left. Defense steps up, makes the game-winning fourth down stop, kind of like we did a couple years ago against them. Now we head back home and we take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team we are now facing for the fourth time in the last 3 years now. Wow, that's crazy. We've beaten them 2 of the 3 times we played them so far. Last year being the only time we lost in a game that we really should have won. It was a pretty embarrassing, disgusting game. But I think the Lions will bounce back this year. The Bucs are just that team that's they're really mediocre. They're not Super Bowl contender worthy, but they're also not like just a mid, out of the playoff team. They're just that playoff team that kind of gives your team a scare every year. They're almost like the NFC's version of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But they've made it to the second round like almost every year except for this past year. I think the Detroit Lions will struggle in this game early, and I think they'll pull away in the end. I think they'll win this one 31-20 and will, again, move to 6-1 on the season and continue to, stack up wins against these tough teams. The Bucs definitely a team that could be back in the playoffs this year. So with this, the Detroit Lions will be heading into their bye week at 6-1. And I think I'm very happy that the bye week is more in the middle of the season this year rather than being, like week 4 or 5 the last 2 seasons. I think that it being a little bit later, even though it's just a few weeks later, I think that this is going to be beneficial, especially when it comes to players staying healthy, and it's not going to be as long of an ending of the season. I think this will be very beneficial to the Lions, and we'll see how they come out of the bye week against another division rival, the Minnesota Vikings. Sitting at 6-1, the Detroit Lions will face a team that I have no idea what they'll be like this coming year. If I had to tell you what I think the Minnesota Vikings will look like, here's what I would have to say. I would have to say they'll probably be the same up and down team they usually are. They usually have a really good year, and then the next year they're very bad. And they have a really good year, and then this year they will be very bad. I don't see this team with J.J. McCarthy starting his first season. I don't really see them being much of a threat. They'll probably win anywhere from 7 to 10 games. I would probably say 7 or 8. I think J.J. will have an okay, first season starting. I'm actually very excited to see what he does. I just don't think he's going to be anywhere near a star yet. I think given a couple of years, he could definitely be a top 10, maybe even a top 5 quarterback in the league. But I don't see that happening this year. I think the Lions come into this game ready to go. They get the win pretty easily here. I'm going to go 34-20 Detroit Lions. At 7-1, the Detroit Lions head into probably the most interesting 2-week span of the entire season. Now, there's a lot of tough games on the schedule, but these 2 are probably the toughest, and these are the 2 hardest games that I just could not predict which game the Detroit Lions would win or lose. Starting with the Washington Commanders game. This is a revenge game from last year. We usually step up in the revenge games, right? We did it all last year. We beat every team that beat us the year before, destroyed the Cowboys, destroyed the 49ers. It was kind of a closer game, it should have been. But, the Seahawks, we beat all the teams that had previously beaten us. But the issue was that we got to the playoffs and we lost first round to a rookie quarterback and a team that really had no business beating us, honestly. The Washington Commanders are going to come in this game fired up as they usually are, but the Detroit Lions are going to be even more fired up. They're going to be playing with that chip on their shoulder. This is one of those games I just cannot decide, but I'm going to take the Detroit Lions in this one in a very, very close game. I'm going to go 24-23. Lions just kind of holding off towards the end and preventing the Commanders from, taking the lead and winning this game. This game and the next game are the 2 toughest ones for me to decide. Lions moved to 8-1 on the season, and then they take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. They are probably a top 2-3 team in the league coming into this year, and they're going to be good. Going to Philly, in a primetime game, I feel confident we can win this. And honestly, I have a feeling they will. But if I were to choose one game for them to lose between these 2, because I don't see them losing 2 in a row, and I don't see them losing to both of these teams regardless. I think they'll win at least one anyway, because they usually do. I would have to probably pick the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they'll be ready to go for the Commanders game, especially because they're going to be coming off of a bye week and then playing the Vikings, who I don't think will be too much of a threat. I think they'll be ready to go against this Commanders team. But the Eagles team, I think they will struggle with. I think that it will hand them their second loss of the season. This is the game I think that they'll lose in this 2-game stretch. I got the Lions losing this one 34-30 against the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Lions will fall to 8-2 on the year. After this, the Detroit Lions will face their third NFC East opponent in a row, taking on the New York Giants at home. Should be an easy win. I mean, there's no reason the Detroit Lions don't win this game. This is should be a cakewalk. But you never know. The Giants have a decent roster this year. Malik Neighbors is a beast, and who knows what's going to go on at that starting quarterback spot with Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart. More than likely, Russ is going to get that spot. Who knows what the Giants will look like this year? But more than likely, they're just going to be the same 3-5 win team they have been the last few years. And I think the Lions will get the nice, easy win here, 31-14. After this, the Detroit Lions will face the Green Bay Packers for the second time, this time at home. And again, this is just that division rivalry that you love to see. And for this game, I have the Detroit Lions winning again. And honestly, I don't think that the Lions are going to come to this game unprepared and not ready to go. Like, they are going to be firing on all cylinders. They probably aren't even going to game prep for the New York Giants. They're just going to start game prepping for this Green Bay Packers team. They want to beat this team so badly. And they also, if they win this game, will have that 2-0 lead against them, which will give them the tiebreaker in the division if it came down to it at the end of the season. I have the Lions winning this one 31-24 and moving to 4-0 in the division. The Lions will move to 10-2 on the season, and then they will take on the Dallas Cowboys. Another rematch against this team, the same team that we have faced the last couple seasons, and it's been a pretty, last year was pretty bad for the Cowboys, but, the year before that was a very good game. We'll see what the Cowboys do this year. I think they'll be a little bit better with George Pickens there. I'm excited to see what they do. But I think the Detroit Lions will head in this game ready to go, and they're going to get another dub here. I think it's going to be pretty close compared to last year. I'm going to go 26-24 Lions. I think they'll kick a field goal with a few minutes left, take the lead, keep it, and we'll win this game. Heading into the next week, the Detroit Lions have the Los Angeles Rams. And this is going to be another one of those very tough games where I just don't know what's going to happen here. This is going to be an away game. I really don't know. I think Jared Goff will play well. He's used to that West Coast time, and maybe he's, adjusted, but who knows? I think he'll have a very good game, but for some reason, I feel like this will be the game the defense struggles. Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, that's going to be tough to stop, right? But it's going to be a close one. I'm going to take the Rams here 34-31. I think that's a really good prediction. I think the Rams take a field goal late. Lions try and come back, and either they get barely into field goal range and Bates misses, otherwise they can't quite get there. Turnover on downs or Hail Mary, whatever. But, who knows? Maybe Jake Bates drills a 70-yarder, sends it to OT, drills a 65-yarder, and we win. I don't know. But I think the Lions are going to lose this game. I think this will be their third loss of the season. And I think it's a realistic loss just because of how good I think the Rams will be this year. If they stay healthy and Stafford's healthy, this will probably be a number 1 through 3 seed this year. I could see them being very good this year. Heading into the next week, back home against the Pittsburgh Steelers, our final AFC team that we face on the season, up until the Super Bowl, obviously. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are just going to be that same team they always are. Now, I have no idea what their quarterback spot's going to look like. No idea how their team's going to look like. Their defense will probably be good as they always are. More than likely, they're going to be the same 9-8 team they usually are. I think this will be a pretty tough game, though. I think we'll struggle against that defense, but I think we'll pull it off. I'll go 27-20. Lions will kick a field goal, go up 7, couple minutes left. Steelers try to move the ball on the field. Terry Arnold gets a pick. Game's over. Now our final 2 games of the season, we will finish off the division. We start the season with 2 divisional games, and then we end the season with 2 divisional games as well. Lions taking on the Vikings in Minnesota. Now, again, I don't know how the Vikings will be. I think we're going to get this dub. I think is this a Christmas? I think this is the Christmas game, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure this game's on Christmas, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I might just be saying stuff. I'm pretty sure we play Christmas this year, but I think the Lions will pull this game off pretty easily. It's going to be, another, 34-20, 34-17. I'll go probably, more than likely it'll be a little closer than that. I'll go 35-24. And I think the Lions will head to 13-3 on the season. Now the final game going to Chicago. Lions are sitting at 13-3, right? Now, here's what I'm thinking. I think that the Philadelphia Eagles will have the 1 seed wrapped up. I think they will be sitting at a solid 13-3 or 14-2. And I think with that, the Detroit Lions know, okay, 1 seed's basically off the table. Depending on what happens, with the Philadelphia Eagles, if they have the tiebreaker against us, they'll probably be able to control themselves and win the division and win the number 1 seed. The Rams could also be up there as well. I just realized I had the Rams beating us. They could also take that 1 seed and win 14, 13 games. Who knows? I think the Lions will kind of understand that. With that being said, they know that they have the 2 or 3 seed locked up. And I think our division will kind of be died down, where the Packers are not going to be better than 12-4. The Packers are at 12-4. The Lions don't even have to win. The division will already be wrapped up. We'll be 2-0 against them. We'll be good to go. I think the Lions are coming to this game kind of just like, whatever. I think the Bears will get a win here. Ben Johnson, people are going to talk about it. Oh, Ben Johnson beats his former team. More than likely, the Lions might not even play their starters. I mean, who knows? Dan Campbell usually does, but I wouldn't, maybe for a half, but you also don't want to do what we did last year. You get a bye week and then you just come out flat in the next game. That could very well happen. So I would say, leave the starters in, but I don't think that they're going to really, take this game as seriously. I think the Bears get a win here. I think they step up and play hard. Maybe they fight for that last playoff spot and they end up getting in. Who knows? But I think the Bears will take this one, and the Lions will go to 13-4 on the season.
So with that, I have the Detroit Lions finishing the regular season 13-4 and heading into the playoffs as the number 2 seed. Here's my official NFC seed listings, with the Rams being the number 1 seed there. Might be a bit of a shot in the dark, but let me know what you guys think of that one. I think if they stay healthy, they could definitely do some damage. And then obviously Lions 2 seed. I got the Commanders winning their division with the 3 seed. Lions have the tiebreaker to get a seed above them. And then I think my top 6 seeds here are all probably going to make the playoffs. Could be interchangeable order, but I think that 7 seed is really going to be up for grabs. I think you've got a mix of like 3 or 4 teams between Cowboys, Bears, Niners, and maybe a team like the Vikings or Falcons or Saints that could all kind of like make that last spot. I think the Cowboys will get it though. And therefore, I have the Detroit Lions heading into Wild Card Weekend taking on the Dallas Cowboys, where, this game is going to be too much different from, the game earlier this season, except I think we'll have a little bit more room. I think the Lions will win this one at home 27-20 and head back to the divisional round. Heading into the divisional round, the Lions could play a different number of teams. They could play the Washington Commanders, who will be playing the Green Bay Packers their first round, according to, my predictions, which I think more than likely the Commanders will win. So, given that, I think the Detroit Lions will be taking on the Commanders at home for the 2nd year in a row in the divisional round, except this year is going to be a different outcome. I have the Detroit Lions winning this one. It's going to be just a shootout, 45-42, and then I think last, 10 seconds or so, I think Lions will get down to like the 10-yard line. Sam Laporta, they hit him. We get down to the 1, and with a couple seconds left, call a timeout, give it to David Montgomery, wiggles his way in the end zone, or we just quarterback sneak it. We go for the win. We don't go for no overtime. Lions win it 49-45, and we'll head into the conference championship game. Now in the conference championship, I think the 2 most likely teams the Lions will play would be between the Rams and the Eagles, depending on who wins, that divisional round game. And for who I would have winning that game, honestly, I don't really know. I think either way, Lions are going to win at, because, either they're going to go to LA and play, which I think will show up and win that game, or we'll play at home against the Eagles, which I think we would definitely win that as well. More than likely, I think that we'll probably have to go to LA and play the Rams, but either way, I'm just going to say same score prediction for either game. I'm going to go 34-27 Lions against the Eagles or the Rams, depending on who we play. I think we'll show up. Offense will get it going. Defense will maybe give up some points, but, they'll clutch up in the end when we need them to. And that leaves us off with the final game of the season. The Lions will head into the Super Bowl, where I had them taking on the Buffalo Bills. I couldn't decide between the Bills and the Ravens, but I think the AFC Championship will be between those 2 teams, and I think the Bills will win that head-to-head. They just, I think it's meant to be a Lions-Bills Super Bowl. I think everyone wants it, but I think also everyone wants a Lions-Ravens Super Bowl, so I don't know. But I think as a Lions fan, I'd definitely rather play the Bills anyway, and I think that the Bills, they just play harder, and they just know how to win in the playoffs, unless it's against the Chiefs. So I think the Lions will play the Buffalo Bills and they're in the Super Bowl, and I think they'll take them on. And I think it's going to be 27-27 heading into the final moments. Lions drive down the field. 2 seconds left. Jake Bates comes out for a 37-yard field goal, drills it. Lions become Super Bowl champions for the first time ever. So I had the Lions winning the Super Bowl to finish the season. Let me know what you guys thought of my season predictions. Let me know where I was right, where I was wrong. Let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you guys watching. More videos coming soon. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Peace.